Hey everyone, Joe Menza here, and I'm going to do a little fast and loose, spontaneous, somewhat abstract landscape scene using the large Ron Ranson brush. And I'm using this, you can use this little sprayer. You should use a sprayer if you're using half pans to wet down your paints before you start. Now this is like 9 by 12 Winsor and Newton. This is cotton paper, and I can spray this down a little bit too with my little sprayer. Very nice little compact sprayer. I think I got it on Amazon if anybody's asking. Then I have my cup of water, and I have the large Ron Ranson brush, and I also have a smaller Ron Ranson brush, a fan brush, and a rigger brush. And I'm just wetting my paper down now. If you look at the paper and you see the sheen on there, maybe it's a little too wet. This is a tip for you. If you feel like maybe I overwetted, you can always take a cloth and you can wipe the paper down and dab away the excess. So I'm going to do that here now just to show you. Now, this is not meant to be the masterpiece of the year. None of these are. I'm trying to get new people who haven't found how much enjoyable this is, that say they can't paint, that say painting is too tedious, detail-oriented, spending days and weeks on a painting just to have fun for therapeutic purposes, whatever your thing may be, just to enjoy. So I'm going to do this quickly, and I encourage you to try these just for fun and just, see how quick you can lay down paint. Throw some yellow down to start with. We always know we're going to have like maybe a sky. We're going to have a middle ground, and we're going to have a foreground in each painting. So we can use that just as a starter point. Put some yellow down for some sunlight, and then I'll jump into some blue here, wash my brush in between so I don't get green. I don't wash the brush a whole lot unless I'm going to a color that I don't, if there's a color I don't want. But here I've jumped into some blue. You can use ultramarine, whatever blue you like, Prussian blue, indigo, and just make some cloud shapes. The idea here is shapes, something the eye can recognize. And it just so happens, look, there's a little light spot there. Almost looks like it could be the sun. So I'm going to leave that alone. And that's what you should do. You should be looking for little things like that to really, capitalize on. So here I am. I'm doing my foreground, which I'm putting like maybe it'll be a little bit of water or something. I'm not really sure. I'm just going with it. Again, this is just meant to be a fun, spontaneous, loose exercise. When you do your first few paintings, a lot of people will, and I did this too, you're trying very hard to paint something. And here I'm telling you to not try so hard. Just let it happen and see what the watercolor does. That's the joy of the watercolor painting, is that, and the enjoyment of it is that when you paint, it does things that you really are not expecting when it evaporates. Now here I'm just making some foliage, just grabbing some greens. I've got like 3 greens in these half pans. You'll see I have like 3 of each color. I have a yellow. I sort of combine them for my own unique colors. That's what I've been doing lately anyways. But here I've got like sort of a green. I'm not really trying hard. That's the thing. I'm just kind of like I said, I'm doing the shapes. When you try to paint, it really does kill the spontaneity of it when you're sitting there and you're trying to paint each thing. That's what makes this technique so, the fast and loose big brush method, which was pioneered by Ron Ranson, which, by the way, it's this year would have been 2025, his 100th birthday. We lost Ron back in 2017. And he's got several books and things like that, and great way to learn to start. And that's one of the early people that inspired me. And we have a group over on Facebook called Ron Ranson Disciples, and people have a really good time sharing and talking about, what they've done painting and using this particular brush and technique. And so I encourage you to come over there, join us, and see what we're doing. And there's links to a lot of content creators that are in the group that make this, and a lot of content creators you might already have heard of. But back to the painting again. Now we're just doing, again, some shapes. I'm doing some ground stuff, brown. You think about it, there's grass in the ground, there's brown. It's not that hard to really come up with just sort of a quick layout. Maybe leave an open area for water and just throw it on there. Just throw it on there, leave it a little bit abstract-y. And, try to get it in under 10 minutes. So I'm taking my card now. I had to go into my wallet and get a plastic card because I had none laying around. But go in your, get a card, and check this out. Look what I'm doing here, scraping right through the wet paint. I've just made a tree trunk. Just going through while it's still wet. That's another benefit of doing this alla prima wet and wet technique, is that if the paint is still wet, you can still kind of manipulate it a little bit. Now, I'm going to go to my fan brush because I like to use a fan brush, and I'm just going to sort of take and make a brown trunk. Now, you can do the brown first and then scrape the tree trunk out, but I did it in reverse this time just to show you. So we're going to go ahead here and just make some grassy stuff on the ground. Just doing, again, very, very quickly. And then I'm going to take my rigger brush, and I'm just going to go crazy with this rigger brush. I'm just going to make all kinds of sticks and twigs and just kind of make it look like a wild area, dipping into a little bit of brown, a little bit of neutral tint. And I'm not really trying, I'm just flicking the brush. Doesn't matter. It doesn't connect. It's off of the tree. This is just a spontaneous, sort of abstract, let the brain figure out what it is when it looks at the painting. So maybe some trees back here, trunks, little skinny ones, dipping it in water, dipping it in paint, back and forth, sticks flicking, wild flicking. All these little things, these are like little details that the mind will look at and put together. Again, if this is not for you, then take your time and put in more detail-oriented stuff. But this is just a quick exercise. This is, hey, I got 15 minutes in my lunch. I've got my materials at my desk, and I'm just going to do a quick one and take your mind off of the world. And have a little mat standing by so you can throw a mat on there. I've got a couple. And or a little frame even. And, if you're working with the same color, you could put it behind the mat and get an idea what it's going to look like. Let's see, behind that tree, I got like a weird-looking branchy thing. Who cares? We just let it, whatever. When you look at it, the mind looks at it, goes to it. Your mind will go to a different place because you're the artist. One of the biggest things we face as an artist is disappointment. Now, see, here it is with the mat. I think it looks pretty neat. We face the fact of it's never good enough, and I think we need to kind of get around that and just enjoy the process. Put it down for a couple days, come back to it. Adjust my camera here. I don't want to touch my mat to it because I don't want to get paint on it. But see, look at that. It's this pretty neat little piece. Yeah, we can sit there and pick it apart, but stick it on the wall in your office. Have a little setup maybe next to you. Throw a couple birds in here with a Micron pen, sign the corner, and check it out. Every few days, maybe you do one in your lunch and you stick it up on the wall and change your artwork that you look at for when you're working. So that's it. Let's look at it closely. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.